Gary right now. There's my man, CaneSport.com. Gary Furman set to join us right now on College Football Recap. Gary, how are you? Good afternoon.
Oh, doing good, Jeff. How you doing, man? Team no sleep here, but happy to be with you.
I won't keep you forever, brother. I just wanted to pick your brain here. This is an interesting Miami team. I thought the defense played very well last night. We all saw the upward trajectory that Van Dyke was on a year ago. Seems like the timing is off right now. I mentioned Restrepo before you came on. Hasn't played. You got other guys that have to step up. It's a new offense. How much does he miss Lashley?
Well, I mean, there's a problem sometimes in college football that's called graduation, and guys moving on, and they seem to be moving on quicker and quicker in today's game. Tyler Van Dyke lost his two top receivers from last year, and Miami has not been able to replace them adequately, and it's affecting him greatly. He's not having things come as easy so far this year as they did a year ago. And it's really the big problem right now for Miami offensively. They can't score points because they're not getting anything easily. Last night they had 27 first downs. They outgained Texas A&M by, I think it was about 100 yards, but they weren't able to score touchdowns. They don't have enough playmakers on this team so that when the degree of difficulty goes up like it did last night in a very, very crazy hostile atmosphere at Texas A&M against a desperate football team and a desperate fan base willing their team to victory, they just didn't have the guys that could make plays down the field. And it was two station to station, and they were unable to score points.
Gary, one of the things, I look at this several different ways. I think if I'm a Miami fan, I'm not too discouraged right now. The long-term outlook for Miami is very, very good. We know they've poured money into the program. You have a talented young quarterback. Cristobal has come home. He'll recruit well and keep more players in the state. There'll be a mentality. They'll fight for him. This game, oddly, I think I'd throw my hands to the air. You're right about the playmakers not coming through, but a lot of trips to the red zone. You only score 9 points on those 4 trips in the red zone. You also had the fumbled punt early, which I think obviously changed the game because the fans could get into it there. 3 plays later, Texas A&M scored. But I thought the offensive line and pass pro held up pretty well. You got contributions on the ground running against a good Texas A&M defense. I don't know that I'm all that – nobody wants to lose, but I don't know that I'm all that upset if I'm a Miami fan because there was enough there that projects well.
Totally agree with you, Jeff. I walked out of it with a fairly positive feeling about Miami. I don't think anybody in the ACC Coastal is going to match them at the line of scrimmage. I mean, they were very good at the line of scrimmage last night on both sides of the ball. Their defensive line, I thought, played exceptionally well, short of a handful of plays. I thought their offensive line played tougher and blocked better in the run game than we've seen a Miami offensive line in a very long time. And, those are very positive things to build off of. And, Josh Gaddis, the offensive coordinator, will get a better feel for his guys and he will, I think, be able to adjust his schemes and play calls to gear more towards their strengths. And they're not going to face a stable of athletes like Texas A&M brought to the stadium last night, probably until they go to Clemson in mid-November. And that's with all respects to Florida State and some of the other teams in the Coastal. But Texas A&M, they had their own struggles against App State, but quality athletes is not their issue. And they had a few defensive backs out last night. You never would have known it. They're so deep, in quality players at that spot. I agree with you. I think that Miami needs to build on the positives from this game and then build back up to those games later in the season where they're going to need to be at their best again. And I think that they should show up just as good or better.
Talking to Gary Furman, CaneSport.com, also part of the On3 Network. Gary does a great job. You guys can get keen insight from him and his staff always. I want to invite all of you. We'll be doing this weekend recap college football top 25 every week. We'll pick 3 or 4 games. We'll have the experts on from the sites on the ground there, covering the teams on a daily basis, providing you the insight that you're going to want. And one of the things you brought up a moment ago, Gary, that I think is important, and I want to ask you, just how good can this defense be? Because Mesidor was back, 3 sacks, 6 tackles for loss for this defense. Taylor, Harvey, Jackson, that group was exceptional last night. I think Miami's defense is going to continue to grow.
Yeah, they are getting really good play at the defensive line position, both at end and tackle. So that is covering up a lot of the problems that they have. I mean, they're short at linebacker. That's no secret. But I'd say 80-85% of the time, because the D-line is playing so well, that those problems they have at linebacker don't show up in the game. Now, last night's game, I think that was the case, but then you get this single play where they throw a simple pass out into the flat, and Wayman Steed, one of these linebackers that I'm talking about, totally whiffed on the tackle, and now it became a touchdown in a very tight game. And that's the difference between winning and losing. And that's the problem that Miami's going to have when the degree of difficulty gets this high, and why, in my opinion, this will be maybe a 9-win football team as opposed to a 10 or 11-win football team, because they're going to have the moments when the competition is really good that they do get exposed where they are weak. And Mario Cristobal and the staff did a great job in the transfer portal, fortifying some areas where they could. You see what Henry Parrish is doing at running back. You see what some of these defensive linemen are doing that they picked up in the portal. They were not able to get receivers in the portal. They were only able to get one linebacker in the portal. And those are still big weak spots for Miami. And when you get into a game like last night and you don't have receivers to make big plays, you have problems scoring points, which is what we saw. And then when you don't have linebackers, good offensive coordinators are going to find ways at different points in the game to expose that. And in a tight defensive battle like that, where you had no margin of error, it ends up being one of the few differences in a game where statistically you were the better team, over the course of 4 quarters.
Gary, I'm going to talk to you on and off all year long. Miami will be central to the conversation in the top 25. We know that. We go back a long way covering our respective teams. It's a pleasure to be with you, sir. I would invite everybody. Gary Furman, CaneSport.com. Join right now. This is the kind of insight you'll get every week as we bring our guests on. Thanks, Gary. Enjoy your Sunday, buddy.
Anytime, man. Great being with you.